Yashodanandana Bhajajanarandana Yashodanandana Bhajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jam Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashodra Shata Shishmaras Vangaisa Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtodra Shata Shishmaras Vangaisa Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Doesn't seem like Jamal wrote the verse, huh? You have to pull out, you have to use your devices, right? So it's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home, and text 38. If anybody wants to look it up. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So again, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home, and text 38. Does everybody have it? Nunam Bhavan Bhagavato Yangaja Parameshtina Vitudan Tatevinam Itaya Jagator Kavat Nunam Bhavan Bhagavato Yangaja Parameshtina Vitudan Tatevinam Taya Jagator Kavat Nunam Bhavan Bhagavato Yangaja Parameshtina Vitudan Tatevinam Taya Jagator Kavat
Taya Jagator Prabhu. Yunam Bhavan Bhagavato. Yunam Bhavan Bhagavato. Yo Nikaija Paramishtaha. Yo Nikaija Paramishtaha. Vidudam Tatevinam. Hitaya Jagato Prabhu. Hitaya Jagato Prabhu. Yunam Bhavan Bhagavato. Yunam Bhavan Bhagavato. Yo Nikaija Paramishtaha. Yo Nikaija Paramishtaha. Vidudam Tatevinam. Vidudam Tatevinam. Hitaya Jagato Prabhu. Hitaya Jagato Prabhu. Yunam Bhavan Bhagavato. Yom Jana Parameshtina. Vidudana Tatevinam. Hitaya Jagatorkava.
Okay, word by word translation. Nunam, certainly. Bhavan, your honor. Bhagavataha, of the Lord. Yaha, that which. Angajaha, born from the body. Parameshtinaha, Lord Brahma. Vitudan, by playing on. Atate, travel all over. Vinam, a musical instrument. Hitaya, for the welfare. Jagataha, of the world. Arkavat, like the sun. Translation. My dear Lord, you are a worthy son of Lord Brahma, and you travel playing on your musical instrument, the veena, for the welfare of the entire universe. You are like the sun, which rotates in the universe for the benefit of all living beings. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj, although a young child, expressed his hope that he might be offered the benediction of a kingdom which would exceed in opulence those of his father and grandfather. He also expressed his gladness that he had met such an exalted person as Narada, whose only concern was to illuminate the world like the sun, which rotates all over the universe only for the purpose of benefiting the inhabitants of all planets. Narada Muni travels all over the universe for the sole purpose of performing the best welfare activity for the entire universe by teaching everyone how to become a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, Dhruva Maharaj felt assured that Narada Muni could fulfill his desire, even though the desire was very extraordinary. The example of the sun is very significant. The sun is so kind that he distributes his sunshine everywhere, without consideration. Dhruva Maharaj requested Narada Muni to be merciful to him. He pointed out that Narada travels all over the universe just for the purpose of doing good to all conditioned souls. He requested that Narada Muni show his mercy by awarding him the benefit of his particular desire. Dhruva Maharaj was strongly determined to fulfill his desire, and it was for that purpose that he had left his home and palace. Om Nikadativadandasya Ganinjana Shalakaya Chakshudan Militam Yena Tasmashi Gurave Namaha Mukam Karidavachalam Pangam Nangate Gidim Yakibadamaham Vande Shigurun Diditaranam Vanchakaparabhishta Kripasinabhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Translation again. My dear Lord, you are a worthy son of Lord Brahma, and you travel playing on your musical instrument, the veena, for the welfare of the entire universe. You are like the sun, which rotates in the universe for the benefit of all living beings. I wanted to ask Srivida Prabhu a question, but he left. So there's this very beautiful verse, and I believe it's I believe it's Narada Muni who Dhruva Maharaj is addressing in this verse today. But he has this verse here. That's why I wanted to ask Dravida people where this verse is, because I have this verse, but it doesn't say where it's from. But it's Payam Vrajajanagana Prema Vapi Marala Shrima Namamritam Aviritam Gokulabhyutitam Te Tad Vishar Charita Nikarajambitam Mishtam Sarvalokan Jagati Ramayan Matta Cheshta Brahmani. So it says, O swan, so he's referring to Krishna. He says, O swan, gliding in the lakes of the Vrajvasi's love, I wish that I may wander everywhere, always chanting, drinking the nectar of your names. Those most sweet names arise from the ocean of Gokul and spread the glories of your infinitely varied dress and ways of acting. As I wander, behaving like a madman, may I distribute joy to everyone in all the worlds. So he refers to Krishna as a swan gliding in the lakes of the Vrajvasi's love. So the Vrajvasis are the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis and the cowherd boys and everyone else. So he's gliding in the lakes of their love, like a swan. And he's addressing them. And I wish that I may wander everywhere, always chanting. So we see that this is what Narada Muni actually does. He wanders everywhere chanting and drinking the nectar of the names of Krishna. And he's saying that those most sweet names arise from the ocean of Gokul and spread the glories of your infinitely varied dress and ways of acting. So, so the idea is that the holy name of Krishna is coming from the spiritual world, and they have that song by Narottam Das Thakur, Goloka Prema Dan Harinam Sankirtan. So the Goloka Prema Dan, this love for Krishna, the holy name specifically, is from Goloka, the spiritual world, and it's descending to the material world. As I wander behaving like a madman, may I distribute joy to everyone in the world. So this is what Narada Muni does. He travels all over. He has full freedom to go wherever he wants and preach Krishna consciousness. And in the process, he distributes joy to everybody because he's distributing the holy name and making disciples and so on. So I believe this is from Narada Muni, but I want to ask Dravida Prabhu, but he's disappeared. He never disappears, but at this time, but somehow or other. I'll ask him later. So Narada Muni, he has come in contact with Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj is a young boy of 5 years old, and he went to the forest to search out Krishna, to search out God, so he could fulfill his desire. And what is his desire? Does anyone remember what it says in the purport? Yeah. He wanted the benediction of a kingdom which would exceed in opulence those of his father and grandfather. And who is his grandfather? Great-grandfather is Lord Brahma. So he wants a bigger kingdom than Lord Brahma. So that's quite a... You know, some kids, they want a lot of presents for Christmas, right? They want this, they want that, they want so many things. But this is quite a wish. Yeah, when I was growing up, younger, during Christmas, my mother and father, you know, we'd have a tree and there'd be some presents under there, and you know, I was happy with what I got, whatever, I don't know, some motorcycle or this, just stuff. And then I'd go over to my cousin's house, my cousin also had a tree, and there was three of us, me and my two sisters, my sister and myself, my two sisters and myself, and then there was my cousin. They had 4 children, not much more, just one more. But under their tree, it was just like, just presents, just like a huge amount of presents. I was going, oh my God, these people have a lot of. I always remember thinking these people have a lot of presents. Their grandparents and whatever, their mother and father, and they would always. One of my cousins, he would always have the newest and latest every Christmas video game, whatever machine. Yeah, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever it was. And my mother, she would, Hare Krishna. My mother, she would never buy me one. That was her policy. She would never buy me a video game thing. She'd always just say, go outside and play. And then when I was a teenager, later, she somehow or other surrendered to it. But still, I never really got into it. Anyways, but so kids, they want a new video game. I don't know what he's called, machine, or what do you say, console, or what do you say? Console, yeah. New video game console. And they want whatever, bicycle or this or that, so many things, right? Those who are parents or those who are associated with kids very clearly know this fact. And it might get pretty expensive, right? They have a big list. And they go through the catalog, or the Toys R Us catalog, right? And they circle everything. Okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then they, So, Dhruva Maharaj, he was a young boy, 5 years old. I mean, he was in this category of wanting things. I mean, as a child does. But he wanted a kingdom greater than his father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather, which means a huge kingdom. Because he wanted to get revenge on his stepmother for disrespecting him. So sometimes we want revenge, right? Somebody does something to us, somebody makes fun of us, somebody exceeds in a particular field, or whatever it is. In high school, right, somebody wrongs us, and so it's not enough, Bajranayan Swami brings up this point. He said, it's not enough just to be successful, but you want to see other people not be successful. And then it's complete. Not that only you're successful, but you have to see other people fail. And you have to make that known to them that you know that they failed, and make fun of them for it. Just like Bajranayan Swami said, the guy who wronged you, in high school or years ago, he's out on the corner selling pencils, I don't know, he makes this example, selling pencils out on the corner, or say Rocket Ramas, whatever. No offense to the Rocket Rama sellers, but, and then, you get some good paying job, and you fly by in your whatever Lamborghini or this or whatever nice car you got, and you see the guy, and you make sure that he sees you, and you speed by, and you right with a nice puddle of water, and you splash it right on him, right? And then it's successful. Okay, he saw me, I saw him. He's selling pencils. I'm very successful, and I'm going to splash him with water. So it's that revenge. You want to get back on somebody. So Dhruva Maharaj, he had this. It was clearly a, you could say, mundane desire, a materialistic desire. But he came in contact with Narada Muni, who is pure, who is a pure devotee and pure preacher. And Narada Muni, he became his guru. Narada Muni became his guru. So it's the duty of anybody who's in a you could say, superior position than somebody else. It means a mother, a father, a friend, not necessarily superior in all senses, but in a role of, you could say, where people are depending on you on some degree or another. And we all depend on each other on some level. So the idea is that the persons who are depending on us, we want to be a good example, a good teacher. And the best way to teach is by example. Srila Prabhupada made the point in a purport in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that, I believe, he says that if you tell someone, oh, stop smoking, stop smoking cigarettes, Suresh. I know you don't smoke cigarettes, but you probably never did that before. But if Suresh was smoking cigarettes, I say, stop smoking cigarettes, Suresh. But I myself am smoking cigarettes. I'm lighting up a cigarette, and I'm saying, stop smoking cigarettes, Suresh. Lighting up. You should really do this. It's really, you should really not do this. It's bad for your health. It's going to destroy your lungs. You're going to get sick. You're going to go to the hospital. Then I say, I light it up. I light up the cigarette while I'm telling you that. I mean, some people preach like that, and I guess on some level it may be successful. On some level, I mean, there was a guy who when we would walk home from middle school, and somehow or other we would, I don't know if we'd be messing with him or like walking through his apartment parking lot or something. We were doing something to annoy him, as teenager kids do very well, right? Annoy people. So we're walking through and this guy, he came out, and he smoked so much that he had a machine that helped him talk, because he couldn't talk properly. And the machine, it'd make his voice sound all just like a robotic kind of, for a teenager, monstrous, voice. And we were just freaked out by it. And you come out with the machine and trying to talk. So for someone like that, if they come up to you and say, "Hey, don't smoke cigarettes," this is what happened to me, or whatever. Somebody pulls their teeth out and says, "Hey, go to the dentist." You don't want. So that may, you could say, work on some level, but the best is to preach by example or teach by example. And you could say that that's one of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada was so successful, because he said, okay, love Krishna, right? And then not only did he say to love Krishna, but he practically taught how to do that, how to love Krishna. You chant japa, and Prabhupada chanted japa. You engage in kirtan. You worship the deities. You take prasadam. And Prabhupada did all these things, and he taught devotees how to do these things, in which that love for Krishna, or that natural Krishna consciousness, will develop. So that's why Prabhupada was so successful. One of the reasons, because he taught by example. And there may be many learned, qualified people or devotees, but Prabhupada had this very special quality of, just as Narada Muni has this, it's the bhakti shakti, right? That power of devotion to transform people. And here in the purport, it says, Prabhupada says that, let me just find it here. Narada, such an exalted person as Narada Muni, whose only concern was to illuminate the world. So that was his concern, to illuminate the world. So that means that he wanted to benefit people. And as Prabhupada says in the next sentence, he says that the sole purpose of Narada Muni travels all over the universe for the sole purpose of performing the best welfare activity for the entire universe, And then Prabhupada says, what is the best welfare activity? He says, by teaching everyone how to become a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's the best way in which one can benefit others, is teaching them to become a devotee. Someone may have so many other ideas of how to benefit people, but the best way is to teach them how to become a devotee, because that is, you're teaching them how to act or how to live in, you could say, harmony with reality. Just like one devotee was telling me, he was saying that there was some movie made about the war in the British soldiers, in old, referring to the old times, and of the war, and somebody there was some critics, of the movies, as there always are. But the critics, they were critiquing the movie for a very interesting reason. They're saying, oh, all the soldiers were white. They're all white, and they're all men too, and there was no women there, and then we're like, okay, well, I mean, it's at that particular time, and there was white men, and there were men, and there was no women engaged in the war. So it was like, so in other words, these people, they have all these strange ideas in which you could say they're fighting reality. They don't want to accept it. They're denying reality. In other words, they're just thinking in a completely illogical, irrational way and demanding that everybody else also thinks that way. That's called Kali Yuga. So, so the spiritual master, they teach, or the devotees, they teach us how to become, how to align ourselves with reality and therefore be happy, satisfied. And that is, you could say, the base, or one of the main reasons in which people perform any type of welfare activity. They think, okay, people are suffering, and I have to try to alleviate their suffering. So the best way we could alleviate people's suffering is to ourselves lead by example, and also to teach others and learn ourselves how to live in Krishna consciousness, in the real spiritual life. So, and we should analyze, okay, Narada Muni's only concern is to illuminate the world. So what are our concerns personally? Is our only concern to illuminate the world? Of course, within life, we had this problem that comes up, that problem, so many things we have to deal with. But really, when it comes down to it, we should try to, you could say, eliminate everything else in which our main focus, our main concern is ourselves becoming more and more in Krishna conscious, and also illuminating the world as far as possible with Krishna consciousness in whatever way we can. And also this idea of being convinced, because Prabhupada said this is the best welfare activity. So are we convinced that it's the best welfare activity? I mean, some people, there's so many different classes of people or types of people, and they're convinced that so many other things are the best welfare activity. Like there's that guru, or that lady guru, Amma, right? Her name is, and she's convinced that, by hugging people, she'll spend hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, a long time, thousands of people, hugging people, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And I guess people need some sort of love, because people are obviously lining up. They really want a hug, So, anyways. Yeah, her arms must get tired. Yeah. So, So yeah, she has a sense, okay, this is going to help people, right? She's convinced, okay, it's going to help people, or whatever people's form of welfare activity is, feeding people and this and that, so many things. So the idea is that, first of all, we shouldn't be swayed by any, you could say, mundane or materialistically inclined welfare activity. But aside from that, we should be convinced that by giving Krishna consciousness, that's the best welfare activity. Because after all, the best salesmen, and after all, we're trying to, on some level, I don't know if you want to say sell Krishna consciousness or promote it, the best ones are the ones that are convinced. Those are the best ones. If somebody's kind of like wishy-washy, oh yeah, well, it gave me some type of benefit. I mean, I think I'm feeling it anyways. I don't know. I mean, I got to double check. Or, yeah, the books, I mean, they're nice, but I mean, I haven't read. Yeah, if you're into that type of thing. I mean, I haven't read them that much, but yeah, they're kind of cool. Or whatever. They're not really convincing. But if somebody's like really enthusiastic and convinced and obviously experiencing some type of results, and that's the best person to give it. And also Prabhupada, he mentions this point again that I'm talking about. He says that again, the best welfare activity is to teach. He says the entire universe, we're teaching everyone how to become a devotee. So you have to teach them how to become devotees. So to be taught how to become a devotee is quite a benediction. It's an amazing blessing to be taught how to practice Krishna consciousness. And we have to always remember that people need to be taught how to be devotees. They don't know how to be devotees. They're completely, I mean, even you could say basic principles of etiquette and cleanliness and all these different types of details of Krishna conscious culture, people don't know until they join a temple or start coming to a temple or taking some classes like that. So they have to be taught. And therefore Srila Prabhupada wanted us to learn the intricacies of Krishna consciousness and the culture and teach it. So whatever we've learned, we could teach people. Like for example, even teaching people how to put on a dhoti. I mean, you don't just put on a dhoti. I mean, you have to be taught how to put on a dhoti. Everything. So if we know how to put on a dhoti, I mean, if a new person comes into the temple, and new bhakta or whatever, whether he's in the temple or outside the temple, he comes, and his dhoti just looks absolutely horrible. You have to teach him, okay, I'm glad that you're wearing a dhoti, but hey, let me help you out a little bit here. So put on a dhoti, tilak, these are just, you could say, the external things. What to speak of how to train our minds and control our minds and all that. So Prabhupada said in that purport to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34, he says that reading books is not good enough. He says someone has to be taught. They have to accept guru, or they have to accept guidance from people. So that's important for us to act on, and also in relation to us trying to help people, that we can't just give them a book. We have to give them a book. Sure, we must give them a book, but we have to also help them practically, teaching them and guiding them. So here it says that at the end of the purport that Dhruva Maharaj, he left home. I mean, can you imagine a 5-year-old boy leaving home, going into the forest? For the parents, for anybody who has children, you can imagine your 5-year-old boy just walking off. Just, okay, yeah, I'm out of here, and he just leaves. And, I mean, that would be, first of all, very depressing, shocking, and especially you don't know where he is. I mean, you can't tell where he is. He just left. And also for the boy to have so much determination just to leave. I mean, to leave home, it's quite a thing. I mean, I was thinking about Prabhupada leaving his house, his home. I mean, his wife. You know, he tried year after year after years upon years to engage her in helping and spreading Krishna consciousness and preaching, but she just wasn't cooperating. I mean, Prabhupada would be having Bhagavad Gita classes in his living room, and she'd be in the back room, not participating and drinking tea and whatever. I mean, you can imagine that. I mean, if you go to somebody's house, like you go to, I don't know, you go to Bhaktavatsal's house, and, you know, we're all having a program there, we're having kirtan and whatever, and Leela Shakti, I mean, of course you do, but Leela Shakti's in the back, you know, in a room, not participating, just drinking tea or something.
Watching television.
Yeah, watching television.
It would be equivalent.
Yeah. And it's amazing. So, so then Prabhupada she said, and then one day, right, she traded his Bhagavatam for tea biscuits. And then Prabhupada said, okay, right. You have to make up your mind. Do you want to keep doing this, or do you want to, you know, do you want to stop? And then she said, oh, I'm just going to continue. Sometimes we say, oh, tea or me? Prabhupada said, tea or me? She says, tea. That's true. So, so yeah, he just left home. Prabhupada just left home. And then they thought he was going to come back. But he didn't come back, and he went to God Brother's temple, and they said he was chanting a lot of japa, and then he eventually accepted the renounced sort of life and came to America. But Dhruva Maharaj also left home. So you could say it's very, dramatic, intense, just to leave someplace. And that's what he did. So us personally, we may not have to leave our home, or we may not leave our home, whatever that means. But we all have to, you could say, leave certain things that are hampering our Krishna consciousness. We have to leave them behind. And whatever that may be, people have different things, you know, that they're attached to, whether it's mundane music or mundane food or whatever it is. I mean, Bajrang Swami brings up that story of the guy, I don't know, but right, he was the guy, and he left the temple.
He was from East St. Louis, where they have a particular delicacy to not give up.
Yeah.
It's a barbecued, pickled pig's ear sandwich.
So it's barbecued.
Pickled pig's ear sandwich.
Yeah, it's barbecued, and then it's pickled, you know, pig's ear sandwich, you know. So that was his attachment. That was his attachment, and he couldn't kick it. You know, for him, very difficult. You know, it's very difficult. So whatever that may be, the idea is we have to leave it behind. You know, just as Prabhupada, you know, but we have to leave, you know, things behind. So that's challenging. That could be challenging. I mean, sure, but the determination that Dhruva Maharaj just left. So that determination that Dhruva Maharaj has, and all the great devotees have, we could, even if we just get a little bit of that, and we could get that from their strong association and the association of our spiritual master, we could get that, and they could, you could say, practically guide us and guide us to achieve our goals in Krishna consciousness, just as Narada Muni guided Dhruva Maharaj, so we could also be guided. So, does anyone have any questions, or stop there? Yes.
I was just thinking, last night we were out in the
Balboa.
Yeah. At a certain point, I got so exhausted, I sat behind the book table and looking at it, distributing very nicely. And I picked up listening to one box there, and there was a higher taste. And a lot of higher taste. And so nicely put together. I don't know if you know, it was kind of redone at a certain point. I'm not sure we got it. So I was looking at it, and I was realizing how so much of the preaching, you know, and Prabhu showed the example, it's like this with Dhruva. I mean, people come to the temple or they come to the book table, generally not, you know, in the four type of ways, you know, with Gandhi, but probably curiosity. And that higher taste, you know, is giving them the whole thing about vegetarianism and recipes, practicalism. So this is, you know, many people, they buy the higher taste, they're into it, you know, explore it like that. But along with the higher taste, you go in there and there's a lot of philosophy. You're reading along, you know, you read about vegetarianism and Hare Krishna, you know. So a lot of the preaching is like that, is where you're looking somehow to engage people's material desires in getting them interested so that they'll become exposed to Krishna consciousness and purified and purified. So this principle that Prabhu, you know, the whole story that it follows is really very universal, and Prabhu uses it extensively to spread Krishna consciousness. And I'm sure that, you know, book distributors use that kind of thing all the time. You know, this book will make you more peaceful, anxiety, you know, history and anxiety. But it's perfectly bona fide. That's shown in the Bible.
Yeah, I went to some community college and whatever I gave a talk there, and then I brought some books. I passed out some books, and then what this teacher does is she has everybody write a response. But
to the top?
Yeah, but she doesn't tell the students that she gives the response, you know, to the speaker, which is very intelligent, because if they knew that the speaker was going to get it, you know, they may hold back on what they actually feel. So, and I go through them, and a lot of them, you know, some of them are good, and some of them, you know, just kind of whatever. So, but I read one, and I thought it was really. It's one person. She said, yeah, you know, she said so many things. Oh, I like to talk, but yeah, I got that book, Higher Taste, and I brought it home, and I use it. I'm using it to cook now, and then when I'm cooking, I listen to the Hare Krishna Kirtan.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, oh wow, this is quite, you know, it's quite interesting.
Your visit to the college was completely successful.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, it was really good. I mean, some people, they write too, like other ones. Oh, yeah, you know, they chanted, and I was going home. I just couldn't get that mantra out of my head. It just.
And it's not going away.
Yeah, it is true. It could stick. Yeah, just stick. It could. Yeah, that's how things are. They just stick there. Even, I mean, some music that we've listened to years ago or whatever, it sticks. You know, so yeah, that's the glory of the books and book distribution. But Prabhu, I think it's a verse by Narada Muni. It says, it starts with Payam Payam Vrajagana Prema Vapi Mara, but it says, he's praying to Krishna. It says, O swan, gliding in the lakes of the Vrajvasi's love, I wish that I may wander everywhere, always chanting, drinking the nectar of your names. Those most sweet names arise from the ocean of Gokul and spread the glories of your infinitely varied dress and ways of acting. As I wander, behaving like a madman, may I distribute joy to everyone in all the worlds. Do you know that? I don't know. It doesn't say. That's what I'm asking. I don't.
I don't even recall ever reading it.
Okay.
So it starts with Payam Payam?
Yeah. But in.
Well, we should think, yeah, that's the verse. Maybe the Vrajvasi verse.
All right. Alright, Gantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.